What you are building for the future cannot take into account individual preferences. Now, hang on these words because many people are going to say, well, it can't just be you building out the whole thing. You can't be the only architect of it. You've got to have your team weigh in. Yes, weigh in, but it's not their preference. It's a collaborative preference.
Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. Got another solo episode for you guys today. This one's going to be quick and dirty. I was outside, I was in my backyard. I was taking care of my chickens because my kids are out of town. And I was just thinking about this client I had earlier this week and, everything that we're working through. It's taking longer than normal to get through their sales program build, making decisions along the way, opportunity structures, override, scope of works, all the good stuff you guys know I love. And I've had several times where I look up and it's the end of the call already, and we didn't get enough done. And that's on me. That's on me for sure. But let me tell you the main problem that we're having, and this is what happens in younger sales orgs, or I mean, just in sales orgs in general, or younger teams. Okay, this is a widespread problem that if you have a large team, you may want to look at your leadership and make sure they're not doing it. But we've all heard the expression that the tail is wagging the dog, right? And so the dog in this case is the company, and the tail in this case is your current sales team. Oftentimes, our current sales team and their preferences is exactly what is preventing us from scaling. Okay. Especially in high ticket industries where the salesperson makes anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per sale. This especially happens. And, there's a difference between cohesive sales program building, collaborative sales program building, and I want the sales program to adhere to my lifestyle or my situation, and this is where it gets really difficult. And I want to make sure if this is triggering something for you guys, you really look into this and figure out, why is this triggering something for me? So and I've always had this, what I realize is the reason that I'm in this business and that I'm good at what I do is that I can look at things objectively. I don't really care about the individuals involved when I'm building a system. Because if I say that the system, that if something is going wrong and a KPI is tanking, or something's just not working, something's not converting, and I can truly say it's not the person, it's the system, then that means the same in reverse. When I build the system, I can't consider the people. Now I can consider the history, I can consider my experience over time, and that's where I'll concede to my clients. And that's in those situations where, one of the situations was they just weren't having success on Saturdays, and they were looking at scrapping Saturdays altogether because in their past, when they didn't sell on Saturdays, or when they say, hey, as long as you're done with your sales quota by Friday, they had good production. That is a situation where a long amount of experience is speaking to uh, having a schedule that doesn't include Saturdays in a B2C business. We know more people are home on Saturdays. The logic is there, but for whatever reason, they've had more success during the week because they've incentivized giving their salespeople weekends off, right? In a B2C business, you normally don't have weekends off. So yeah, that's a big incentive. And so going back to the tail wagging the dog, right? And so often when we're looking to scale, we're looking at our sales program and we're looking for ways to build it with the people we have in mind. Now, don't get me wrong, the dreams and aspirations and the ambition of the people is something we should definitely consider. When we're building this out, we should build it 2 and 3 levels above our highest person so that they understand we're thinking big. But the home location, the preference in management style, the preference to sell only and not train. These little things, these nuances of our top writers cannot be a factor whenever we're building out something like an opportunity structure. If our top salesperson is not doesn't enjoy training or does enjoy training but only in the field and doesn't enjoy doing the office things, right? The office things is always the big area of conflict. We need to make sure we're not building out the sales program to accommodate that. Now, whenever I build out a scope of work for a market manager or a manager level sales leader that is responsible for a physical office location, I take as much admin work and as much operations as I can off of that sales manager. But the things like interviews, the things like orientations and trainings and meetings, that's the sales leader's position. So these are the things that our top salesperson in the office either has to rise to the occasion or grow to fill out that position so that they can continue to earn what they're earning. See, the difference is right now they're earning and they're holding on to, these big commissions. But if they move up into a position like that, if they grow individually and they expand their skill set, they're going to move into a position that doesn't require them to do all the sales. They're going to move into a position that gives them the opportunity to lead others and make money from their leadership. And oftentimes, especially with young top salespeople, that's an uncomfortable growth that they don't want to go through. They just want to sell and look sexy and do all the fun things that young people do. You know what I mean? And that's fair. But they can't complain when someone passes them up because the opportunity structure is built so that you are incentivized to build leaders. And that's typically how I build my sales programs. And so this was just something that I was thinking about it, and I figured if my client was having a hard time with it, because you want to covet the people that have put in the work and that have been with you for a while. You want to accommodate them. And if you have to, this is my meet in the middle point. Then grandfather them into the system, grandfather them with their team. If they're owning overrides that they're earning without leading an office and leading a team and doing the more admin or the more manager type work, then grandfather them into the system and let them know, hey, moving forward, this is how we're going to promote people. And this is what they're going to do. And at some point, this is going to create conflict. But by the time it creates conflict, there may be enough opportunity for you to be incentivized to step into a holistic leadership role rather than just a field general, as we call it. And so, if that's the case, you have to make these exceptions sometimes. But the structure, the sales program, what you're building for the future cannot take into account the individual preferences. I'm going to say it again. What you are building for the future cannot take into account individual preferences. Now, hang on these words because many people are going to say, well, it can't just be you building out the whole thing. You can't be the only architect of it. You've got to have your team weigh in. Yes, weigh in, but it's not their preference. It's a collaborative preference versus an individual preference. So if I'm sitting with a sales leader or a top seller and I'm sitting with a partner and I'm sitting with maybe an assistant manager or a trainer, and we come together collectively and say, hey, let's work on this system. Let's create a better opportunity structure. And because they already have current comp structures in place and stuff like that, we say, okay, you guys are grandfathered in, but this is how we're going to do it moving forward so that we can scale. Oftentimes, this happens when we gave away too much in commission early on in our sales org or our company or our sales division. And then we don't have enough margin to build in leadership. We don't have enough margin to build in training pay and overrides and leaders in between the owner and the salespeople. And so when that happens, just grandfather them in and then know that you're going to get your margin back whenever you expand and you add more salespeople and you add that leadership, you will get that margin back eventually. But it's important to make those hard and tough decisions that don't necessarily favor the individual preferences of the sales leaders or the top salespeople that you have right now, but they favor the company, they favor the expansion plan, they favor making the company healthy, because a healthy company stays around for the long haul. I'm a great example of several times where my company was not healthy. And if it weren't for partner loans or lines of credit or me not paying myself for a month at a time or 2 months at a time, we would have never survived. So take it from the good experience and the bad experience. Don't let the tail wag the dog, guys. I want to also remind you that we're nearing our 300th episode. I'm excited about the 300th episode because I'm bringing one of the original key players in Argenta on for the 300th episode. He's also going to be speaking at my event in 1 week on July 12th. He's going to be on the panel talking about door to door. And so I'm excited about the event. I'm excited about the 300th episode of the podcast. And I want to thank you all for listening, even if this is your first one or your 300th one. I can't thank you enough for your downloads, your attention, and your loyalty as far as the podcast goes. And I appreciate you guys. As always, if you haven't taken advantage yet, go to salesprogrambuilder.com. I've got a sales toolkit on there that you can give your salespeople that will help them structure their sale, overcome objections, and sell the way customers want to buy. I've got some sales toolkit episodes put together via video in a learning management system on there. I think it's called the sales toolkit. Or I'm sorry, not the sales toolkit. It's called the toolkit episodes. So these are tactical episodes that help you build out your sales program. And they're all organized and on video in a learning management system where you can complete each of the episodes. And then we've got an opportunity structure set up that we walk you through and train on. It's a little sneak peek of the new course coming out soon. And so salesprogrambuilder.com, check it out. If you're interested in checking out our event, go to bgst24.com. And we are doing a BOGO offer right now. So you can buy one ticket, get one free. Appreciate you, brother. I just got a text and I forgot I was filming an episode. And so I was literally talking out loud in response to that. You can tell I'm a little tired. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening as always, and let's get building.